Hi.
Hey! What's up, everybody?
Hi.
I love the hat.
Tell him who you is.
Uh, I be creepin' Colin. How's everyone doing tonight? Hope you're feeling good. I'm feeling all right. And everything is tight. And we're doing Spoopy Boys tonight.
Put on the sailor's hat. I'm ready to go on a journey.
Yeah, we're gonna be sailing through the macabre waters of horror tonight, I guess. Yeah. I don't know. I've already went ahead. I was searching around on Max, formerly HBO Max, formerly HBO Go, formerly HBO Now. And I found
HBO
one
then,
movie.
HBO forever.
Oh, HBO forever. I found one movie that I'm already like, I've not seen this. I've heard about it a lot, heard a lot of good things about it, and that is Cast a Deadly Spell.
Cast that spell solid.
Have not seen it, so very excited about that. But yeah,
It's very. I enjoy it very much. There's also I don't know if that's the sequel. There's two of them.
yeah, but the one's got like a banger cast. Cast Deadly Spell's got like Fred Willard, or is it Fred Ward? Let me look at this.
Fred Ward.
Fred Ward. You got Clancy Brown, the voice of Mr. Krabs. Also Kurgan from Highlander.
Lex Luthor.
Lex Luthor. Evil
That's how
Stepdad.
Cassandra knows him.
Evil Stepdad and Pet Cemetery 2. The main real dickhead, not security guard. What do you call him? Prison guard in Shawshank Redemption. Fantastic guy. Wonderful dude. And also a young, kind of still on the cusp of stardom, Julianne Moore. And it's kind of, from what I understand, kind of a fun, like 50s style, almost like kind of mystery or whatever, in the sense of like it'd be at home in like a radio play from back in the day. Kind of like that kind of fun with it. So yeah, that'd be my first pick of the night.
So I made a list.
You already did make a list.
Did you want to see? Do you want me to share screen?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I'm putting also in the chat. Here's some movies that, although man, the chat setup for this doesn't really allow you to.
Oh yeah.
This kind of sucks balls, but I mean it is what it is. So you can decipher it. Those people who watch this, those people who will watch it later. It's a list of horror movies for people who don't like horror movies.
I've got two others that I would add on to this.
Here's my second one popping through right now. Okay, now that's my whole list for this. All right, so I'm going to share my screen then.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of got knee deep in this.
That's good. Oh.
I'll make it bigger. That's as big as it gets, apparently.
Hey, that's all right.
Onibaba, I have not seen. I've always wanted to, and
I haven't seen that either.
It's amazing looking, and it's one of those films that's like Criterion Collection. It's some of these I don't know a ton about. I just caught little things about them.
For sure.
Apparently, My Little Eye is extremely difficult to find.
I've never heard of that.
It is a. I can't remember I might as well just use Google. My Little Eye. It's 2002.
Oh.
And it was like a Big Brother-esque, like people in a house, but things start going real weird. It's one of Bradley Cooper's first movies.
Oh, okay.
And I watched a thing where Ryan Hollinger was talking about it, and I really Bollinger steers me right most of the time, and he was like, "Hey, this movie is interesting.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worth the watch, but it's also the ending will stick with you." Apparently,
Nice.
it might be on Netflix.
Oh, bonus.
I think. Maybe not. I don't know. Not sure where you can find it at.
Yeah,
Cemetery Man, I've always wanted to see.
that's a great movie. I lucked
So,
out in Hibbing, Minnesota, of all places. It was in like all the video stores for some reason, and yeah, it was it's a family classic in the Eustis house, which is strange to say because it's not your atypical. I
no,
don't
it's
even know
based
if
on
you.
a comic book.
Yeah, yeah, and I don't even know if you'd call it like because there are zombies in it, but it's also a bit of a ghost story in a way.
Yeah,
And
there's romance to it.
it's a, oh my gosh, yes, it's the romance plot is the most focused on thing, and it's oh my god, it's full of really black humor, which is
Yeah,
wonderful,
it's really
and
pretty.
very yes, it's got a very kind of languid dreamlike quality to it. It's yeah, it's a wonderful movie. Great choice.
Um, isn't Rupert Everett is the star
Mm-hmm.
of it? Like he's really young as well.
Oh yeah, I think it was the first time I'd ever seen him in anything, and just smoldering good looks.
Yeah,
Like
I mean
and
he plays the part perfectly.
yeah, and it's got a ending that I still think about to this day. Like it was one of those things where like I think as soon as it was done, my dad, my sister, and I, we were watching it. I think we rewound it right away to watch it right again. Like it was, yeah.
I've never seen it, so I've always heard really good things about it.
Oh, dude, yeah.
Stage Fright, I've never seen.
I
Everyone
haven't
talks
either.
about it. It's on Shudder.
Okay. I'm gonna add that to my list then.
I was like, oh shit, I've not seen this, and everyone talks about it.
Yeah,
and I just need to watch it.
it is one of those classics. I feel like.
Same thing with Bay of Blood. I love Mario Bava.
Oh, Bava's Bay of Blood. I have not seen this either.
It's a lot of people feel it's a movie that Friday the 13th stole a lot from.
Oh, not just from Halloween.
It stole from a couple different Bava movies. This one might be because it's like I think this one's out of there's one of the two. Bava did two very big proto slashers. And Friday stole heavily, even some of the kills.
Oh, really?
I've never seen The Autopsy of Jane Doe, also on Shudder. I've heard great things about it. Brian Cox is in it.
Yeah.
It's one of those movies that every year, since it's been out, I've been like, I should watch this one, and then I don't. So, Scary Stories to Tell in the Dark.
That's good.
Again, it's a movie where I'm like, why have I not just watched this?
Yeah, it's really solid. I like it a lot. I don't know what's better though, the movie or the actual physical medium of going through the book.
Yeah. I mean, I've heard really mixed things about the movie, but I mean, those books are a hell of a deal. So I kind of just want to watch it.
Yeah. Oh, it's got, yeah, I mean, it's not like, it's not gonna, I mean, I was just gonna say it's not gonna blow you away, but actually I was just thinking some of the practical effects and design they're so astounding for how well and I'm so sorry, I'm blanking on the artist from the Scary Story.
Yeah, I don't remember his name
but
either.
It's like it's the best kind of true to life realization that you could want of those drawings, and those drawings are just so mwah in that. But yeah, no, that's a good one.
I still haven't watched 1922.
That's
Heard it's
solid.
really, really good.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't watched Climax yet, which is something I've heard really interesting things about.
Yeah.
And I
don't. Which one is that one actually? I don't know.
That's the one with that they cast actual dancers. It's a bunch of dancers having like a party.
Oh, isn't that Gaspar No?
I'm not sure.
Okay, if it is, I think I know what this is. It's supposed to be really, really good. If
It's like they all accidentally are
take like drugs, right?
Yes, and then they just go. Oh,
yeah, yeah. I think it is either Alejandro Aja or
I'm not sure who did it.
Gaspar No. Yeah, Gaspar No. I know him because he did Irreversible, which is still to this day.
That's a hard movie. I've watched that movie once, and I'm like, I don't ever need to see this again.
Yeah, I watched it. I've watched it twice in its entirety. Once by myself, and then once with my dad, because I was like, I need someone else to watch this with me and wrap my head around it and dissect this and talk about it because it's so intense. And then it was just one of those movies where afterwards we're just like sitting there in silence, and then like, yeah, like, but then that's a hard movie, but it's a good movie. It's got a lot to say, but
it does. It definitely has a lot to say, but I mean,
it's almost punishing.
It is punishing. I think.
Yeah, no, I'd say yeah, it does. Yeah, that tunnel scene. But yeah,
I mean,
but I hear Climax
movies where you'll come out of it at the end and say, I need a shower and I need to just re-examine the entirety of the world.
Yeah, no. I just sat down and like sat in silence for like 20 minutes after I saw it for the first time. It was just like one of those, you're just like, because it's a gut punch and then also like a big knife in the heart.
Yeah,
it's harsh.
It's something else.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I hear Climax is actually very, very good and not as psychologically damaging.
No, I've also heard that it's straight up just chaotic.
Mm-hmm.
Once it gets rolling, it's like
doesn't relent.
It's on from that point on.
Like a pure adrenaline ride. Yeah, that's what I hear.
And I'm all about trying that out and checking it out. And it just, I like there's a lot of like long uncut scenes that just single shots that just keep going and going and going.
Yeah.
Which brings me to the fact I've got One Shot of the Dead on my list as well. I still haven't watched that. Where is that? It's on my list, right?
One Cut of the Dead.
Yeah.
Right above Cemetery Man.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen it, so yeah. Let me see. Frailty. I've never seen it.
Oh, it's
supposed to be really good.
Stone cold classic, and it's baffling that Bill Paxton did not direct more after this or become like kind of a horror guy. Like
I heard someone describe it as a perfect like horror version of a Coen Brothers movie.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
If I like the Coen Brothers, especially like Blood Simple stuff, that's a little less haha.
It's got like it there's that kind of, I don't know, like Blood Simple and stuff or Fargo. There's just this kind of like there's this heavy story going on, and then this very bucolic, like rural backdrop behind it of just everyday normalcy. And I could see definitely tapping into the Coens in that vein for sure.
VFW is a movie I've had like gotten ready to start like a bunch of different times and been like, ugh.
Mm-hmm. It's good. I like it.
It's a siege movie with like drug zombies, and it's got a lot of fun.
It's great actors. It's like God, it's like, I don't know.
It's like Assault on Precinct 13.
I was gonna say if you take Assault on Precinct 13, the concept of that movie Red and Red 2, where it's just a bunch of old people who are like secret agents, and then you mix it with street trash, you got VFW. It's good.
Excellent. I'm not a serial killer. I have not. Hadn't heard a lot about this, and then I was watching a thing on like recommendations, and it was like Christopher Lloyd's in it. It's got kind of a heavy feel to it. I was like, okay, I'm interested in this.
Yeah, I think I've heard of that one actually.
It looked interesting. Happy Death Day.
Oh, I love those.
Yeah, this is another one where I've been like, I should watch this and just haven't. So I think it might be a little harder to find on streaming right now, but if it is, I'll have to choose something else. The Dead Hate the Living.
I just this is
one. The Horror Geek did this week. I didn't know this was a full moon feature, baby.
I didn't know it was full moon, and also I keep forgetting this is, in the great scheme of things, kind of a more recent offering. Like, whenever I see that one zombie with like the exposed kind of face parts, that looks like so that is such a like Italian kind of feel to it, horror feel, that I always think, oh, that's from like a movie from the 70s or 80s.
And that's one thing I've heard that Mike Bracken was talking about, was this is in that Scream era. So it is like wearing its everything that it is on its sleeve. And there are tons and tons of like, look how horror smart we are things in there. And a lot of them are Italian horror.
Yeah.
That's cool, man. I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Possession.
I have not seen that. Is that on Shudder too?
It is on Shudder, and it's from what I understand, it's Buck Wild. An early Sam Neill flick, and I do loves me some Sam Neill.
I hear it's one of the ostensibly what it's about is it's one of the most brutal depictions of the dissolution of a like relationship.
Also, sex with an octopus, apparently.
Yeah, I hear there's that. I didn't want to get into
or an octopus-like monster, I guess.
Yeah, and apparently, like, I guess this was such an intense experience for Sam Neill when he filmed it. He almost like was like, "Do I want to continue doing this?"
Acting?
Yeah.
That's I mean, I've heard really interesting things about it.
Yeah,
I think it's going to be one of those movies that I either really enjoy or that I'm like, well, this is fucking shit.
Yeah.
Qui-Gon, and I'm not sure if I'm saying that correctly, is a Japanese flick. It was an Oscar-nominated movie. I think it's from the mid 60s, and it's a bunch of ghost stories. And the things I saw from it, like it was shot entirely inside of a studio. So like everything looks very surreal because it's a period piece and it's just very beautiful. And it kind of to me has like
right
that
here on HBO Max. Actually, I'm going to put it on my list. This looks gorgeous.
I mean, I enjoy that period of Japanese movie making to begin with.
Yeah,
and I found kind of an interesting love for the horror from that time period. Kuriniko is another Japanese movie from it's like from later, like 68, 69. I think it's only on the Criterion channel right now.
Oh, okay.
But it's another kind of ghost period piece that I've been like, I mean, it sounds very interesting. You know, I think that the Japanese do like horror fables extremely well.
Yes. They definitely that fantasy tinged horrors. They do it better than anyone. I was gonna say maybe the Italians, but no, I'd totally give it to them actually. Just thinking of just House in general. Like,
Yeah, House is on my list of like, hey, you don't like horror movies? Just try this fucking out.
yeah, you want to see a disembodied head bite someone in the butt?
Yeah.
Like,
I haven't seen Barbarian.
Mm. I cannot say enough good things about Barbarian. That I
I've
am.
yet to hear anybody say anything bad about it.
It's so impressive. It's so gosh darn impressive, especially the guy who did it, Zach Kreger, I believe, from the comedy troupe The Whitest Kids You Know, was never really a fan of theirs, and to see I think it's an incredibly intelligent film, and
Well,
what
from what I
he did with
understand,
it,
it really does a good job of like preying upon your expectations
yeah,
and then being like, yeah, we're not doing that.
yeah. Just I mean, no heavy spoilers, but just they in one of the first kind of encounters in the movie, it does everything you want. The our hero does everything you want her to do.
Yeah,
and it's so like so it's just it. I love that it was smart enough to be like, well, yeah, you know how everyone complains about, well, you know, this is so stupid. Why don't you just do this? She does this, and this, and the horror still finds her. It's so good. I gotta let my dog in 1 second. Be right
that's
back.
fine. So
Good girl. All right. So what do you got next?
Okandi is a weird movie. I just showed up on Netflix. It's I think it's a Mexican movie. It's like maybe about vampires. I can't tell.
Okay.
But it looks wild. And it's like a kind of like a guy who's done a lot of horrible things, got a lot of money. The family's kind of horrible. They all want his money, but he's maybe not ready to go out like that just yet.
Okay.
And he might be a vampire. So I mean, I don't know. I saw the thing for it, and it definitely like got me interested. So I was like, well, you know, I'm trying to do movies I have not seen.
Yeah.
So you know, let's roll with that. Demonia, Fulci, haven't seen it.
Okay.
Eaten Alive, Toby Hooper, haven't seen it.
Very fun movie.
Blood Quantum has been on my Shudder watch list for about a year.
Blood Quantum. Is that the Native American?
Yes.
That's so good.
I've heard great things about it.
It's so good.
I just haven't watched it. Mon Monsters, and I believe it's a Korean movie, also been on my Shudder list for a really long time. Haven't watched it. Tigers Are Not Afraid, also a Mexican movie, has been on my Shudder list for over a year. Haven't watched it. So I tried to go in and grab some of the things where I was like, you know, I haven't seen this, so
yeah,
I should probably watch it. Swallow popped up back on my my radar because
I think I haven't seen this, but if this is where the girl's just swallowing stuff.
Yeah, she starts swallowing things because kind of her life has gotten completely out of her control.
Yeah.
The reason it popped back up was so I very much enjoy a female comedian. I guess you could. I hate the term influencer, but I guess it's kind of what they are. Is Stanzi Potenza?
I'm not sure if I know her.
And they did a song at like a live show inspired by the movie Swallow.
Yeah.
And the song is absolutely stunning. It's so good. And I put it in the chat. It's just if you know people or have work, in my case, know and work with individuals who have some significant mental health issues, especially with like doing things like cutting and things like that
Yeah.
because they feel like things are out of control. The songs about that, if it's based on the movie, and I was like, I gotta see this movie. That's all there's to it. Night Plus Heart. I can't remember why I was like, I'm very interested in this, but I can always just again, I made this list a few days ago, so I kind of intrigued now why I put that on there. It's from 2018. Paris Summer 1979. Anna's producer of cheap gay porn. When Lois, her editor, companion leaves her, she attempts to get her back by making a more ambitious film with the flamboyant Archibald. I'm not sure how it's horror, but I am interested.
Yeah.
I think it was on Shudder, and I was like, I mean, it's if you like this movie, you'll like movies like Dario Argento's Trauma, Boarding School, Demons 2. So I'm like, okay, well, I do like some of those movies, so heck, let's go for it.
Yeah.
The next is Serial Experiments Lane, which is a short, like a anime miniseries.
Okay.
That someone suggested on a thing that I watched. It's apparently on Funimation and Crunchyroll. It's very, very horror driven, and I was like, okay, I'm interested in continuing to try to watch as much horror from all over the place as possible.
Yeah.
I Saw the Devil.
That's a good one.
I am always kind of iffy on like Ichi the Killer and stuff like that because sometimes I'm like, oh, this is just like violence for the sake of violence.
Yeah. And
I do like Takashi Miike, but like
he had his edgy years for sure, where he was just like, check this shit out. It's just
the thing he always did, which was real wild to me, is he would do a movie like that and then he would do a kids movie. Like,
he's
just kept like
all over the map,
going back and forth. And I think that's one of the reasons he's so extremely talented is because he's able to do all that.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued by the premise of this movie a ton. And it's a movie I started to watch probably like 6 months ago, and then I decided to watch something else. But the idea of like a slight spoilers, I guess. The premise is this guy's a horrific serial killer rapist, just awful. And he rapes and kills this cop's, I don't know if she's his wife or girlfriend. And the cop basically is like, okay, well, I'm not going to, he gets him out of jail or doesn't put him in jail. And instead he follows him. And every time he's about to commit a crime, he mercilessly beats the living fuck out of him. And it becomes this very much a cat and mouse game. Because it's also like, this guy's still doing horrible stuff because he doesn't get to him first every time. It's very Joker Batman to me. And I'm really intrigued to see where it goes. Tickled, which is a documentary about like tickling, and it's like the fetish built around tickling.
Okay.
And I was like, what? And then they were like, hey, you won't see it coming, but when you see like the insidious nature of some things that go on, it's fucking horrifying. And I was like, I try to do one documentary every year, and I was like, okay, the premise sounds so silly.
Yeah.
Because it's like, okay, I mean, hey, whatever you're into, no kink shaming in this dojo. But I was like, that's okay. Lake Mungo. It's a movie I've watched a lot of stuff about, but I've never watched it.
Yeah.
And I am stoked to finally sit down and watch it. I don't know if it'll bug me the fact that I know basically the twist, but hey,
It happens.
yeah, I'm pretty much like about stuff like that, kind of like I don't care. Um,
Yeah, I just I know like everyone is like really up in arms lately, or maybe over the past decade more so than anything about like spoilers and stuff. And that used to kind of be like, oh man, but like I think about it now a lot more as like, does that really bother me as much? Because I think like back in the day, especially with horror movies, you'd hear about like the entire plot of the movie before you saw it, because it'd just be that thing on like the playground or wherever where like people were just like, oh, you got to see this because this happens and this happens and this happens, and you have an idea of it, but then when you see it, it's rewarding on such a different level, and it didn't feel spoiled. You were like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about now.
yeah, I guess I'm kind of like of the mind that I've kind of like left myself to the fact that I don't really care.
Yeah.
That I'm like, okay, I'll still try to check it out. I
For
mean,
sure. Yeah, I mean, because there's so many. Need help? Okay, 1 second.
no problem.
Childcare help. Childcare help. Talk to Spike. Spike's in the chat. What up, Spike?
Super Spike. Spike, I hope you're doing well. I like your giant octopus guy. That's pretty cool. Yeah, sorry, I'm a little like off tonight. So I put a bunch of movies in the chat, Spike, that are like horror for people that don't like horror. So perhaps you'll find something that is interesting, or would look at that as like, oh, here's some movies I could potentially watch along with them during the 31 and 31 business.
Yeah.
So we are still here. I was like, kind of like, and then I recognized one of the actors in it, and I was like, okay, I really like this person.
Well, who's in that?
It is Larry Fessenden.
Oh, okay. I think I know who. Yeah, let me do a quick because I'm pretty sure
he was on The Strain. I always remember him from Law and Order, where he was a creepy guy. He was in Your Next.
Yes, this is exactly the guy I was thinking of.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Spine of Night. The Spine of Night, which I enjoyed.
That's great.
So I was like, oh, that'd be good. Before I Wake, which is I think an early Mike Flanagan movie.
Ooh, okay.
Spike, just living, baby, just living.
Living.
The Veil.
I don't know about that.
I'm trying to remember what The Veil was. It's like I had it and then survivors of a mass cult suicide. They were the returns to the scene, the tragedy with a documentary crew, which I'm interested in.
Yeah.
I mean, Thomas Jane's in it, Jessica Alba. I believe Thomas Jane is like the cult leader.
Okay.
So yeah, my list is very Thomas Jane heavy this year.
Nothing wrong with that. I love Thomas Jane.
Piercing. I remember when this movie, like the ads for it coming out, and I was like, "What?" It's like a guy who's plotting to kill someone, and he's not sure he can go through with it, but he's like slowly kind of sending into madness. He meets a sex worker, and things go off the rails from there. It's like also got a lot of like weird imagery going on in it, which I'm kind of intrigued by. Kill List is a British flick, I believe, about a hitman who comes out of retirement, and he finds out that what he's doing is sort of he's getting drawn into like something beyond what he would be able to understand, because it's not like it might be kind of culty.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure, like I said, that it's British. It's definitely got the British crime movie vibe to it. So I mean, like the premise.
Yeah.
Jigoku, another Japanese movie that made it onto my list this year. Actually, so did Pulse, which
Okay.
I know people are like, you haven't seen Pulse, and I'm like, no.
I've never seen the Japanese Pulse. I've seen the old school 80s American Pulse.
So Jigoku is on Criterion Channel. It is about a guy who goes to hell. And it's got the most like apparently visceral display of like hell from a Buddhist sense. And he ends up like, I guess the first like 30 minutes are a little different because it's like you're seeing a lot of crime, a lot of adultery and things like that. And then this guy ends up in hell and he's trying to prevent his daughter's soul from ending up in hell. But like the rest of the movie's in hell. Oh. And the stuff I've seen of it, it's very visually like impressive.
Okay.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I'm intrigued.
So you're good, Spike.
I'm kind of I mean, if for nothing else, the film of it intrigues me.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my list. I don't know if that's 31 or not, but it's at least where I'm at right now. It's kind of what I threw together.
Well, let's keep building it up as we go, because that's what I'm doing currently, is finding movies for myself. And with that, I'll take over and mention a few that I've added a bunch from yours, but some that I'm gonna do. One I've always heard of is the classic Eyes Without a Face.
I also was going to put that on my list. I've never seen that.
I haven't either. I've only heard how haunting it is, how beautiful it is. It's on, for me, I found it on Max. But from what I understand, if I can remember the plot right, it's like a surgeon who's trying to like heal someone close to him. He's like taking people's faces. Yeah. It's supposed to be pretty very good.
It's a movie that inspired a lot of other directors.
Yes.
Like John Carpenter always cites it as a huge influence on him. And what I've seen of it, it's absolutely beautiful. And that mask that the girl wears inspired the mask for Michael Myers, because it is just
so blank.
It's blank, and all you see is the eyes, and her eyes are very emotive. It's I'm very excited to see this because it's a classic.
Yeah, dude. Another one I have is I found this one on Amazon. It's called Chained. This is actually one my dad threw at me. It's this young kid is abducted by a serial killer as a young boy after his mother is victimized by this guy. And this dude kind of keeps him as, and the serial killer is played by Vincent D'Onofrio. He keeps him kind of as a prisoner, but also is grooming him to possibly take over for him.
I think I've heard of this.
I watched the trailer. It's directed by Jennifer Lynch, David Lynch's daughter.
I have heard of this movie.
It's supposed. I've heard good things about it. I'm very excited. Another one that popped up for me that I've never seen, starring Kirk Douglas, The Fury, which is all about telekinesis.
Yeah.
Okay.
I've seen The Fury. Solid flick.
I've heard it. Just that used to be one of the movies I heard a lot about back in the day.
Kind of like The Keep was always in that category.
Oh, The Keep is great.
Yeah, there was a bunch of those movies like last year.
Alchemist.
Yeah, last year I did The Changeling, which was a
Mm.
movie I'd always heard about, and I've been like,
Mhm.
why? After I finished watching it, I was like, okay, I get the hype's about. This is a really just a great movie.
Yeah. Another one is it's a newer movie, but The Lodge. I think it's A24, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, I know a little bit about it, but it would.
Yeah, I'm not. It's kind of. I think woman had like very harsh religious upbringing, and then is getting introduced to like the family of a new I think like love interest of hers, and gets triggered and things go very wrong very quickly, if I remember. It looked great. The trailer had me like, I was just like, whoa. And it's been one of those things that's been
Is it streaming somewhere?
yeah, that's on Max as well. Another one, you might be able to find it other places. Another one, and you mentioned this earlier, and it's one of those ones I've never seen, although I feel like I should have, because it's become pretty popular pretty quickly. And I found this on Max as well. Is Your Next? And haven't seen it. I've only
seen
heard
Your
great
Next.
things.
Your Next is fun.
Yeah,
It's real fun.
I heard it's got some
You
really
talk
good.
about like a movie that's like, hey, you want to see some inventive kills and some wild stuff?
Yeah,
Your Next is a good solid. I mean, it would be one of those suggestions for people who don't like horror, but it's got some significant gore. I would say it's a more intense version of Ready or Not.
okay.
Ready or Not's I think very fun.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some really tongue-in-cheek stuff in it, although it's got its intensity too. Ready or Not is like from Jump Street, like there's no ha-ha in it.
I love Ready or Not so much.
Yeah,
so,
Ready or Not's really, really fun.
So horror that didn't have Gerald's Game. I have not
really good.
watched it. I read the book.
Very, 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 very good.
When I was too young to read that book. But
well, you should put that on your list.
Gerald's Game?
It's
all right.
Excellent.
And that's Netflix, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I just popped on a Netflix.
I got a couple I got a vampire and a werewolf movie on my list, Spike. Worlds Within, and Salem's Lot.
Ooh, yeah, both good. Both good. Another one I have on my list, a movie I've heard a lot about, never saw. Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, and I found that on Peacock.
It's also on Shudder. I've seen that before. It's very good.
I hear it's a TV horror, but like
that
even today still sets the bar very high.
That Salem's Lot TV movie, Trilogy of Terror TV movie, back in Gargoyles.
Oh yeah,
Gargoyles is great.
That's got wild.
Yeah, like, there's like a group of like 4 to 8 movies that were TV movies that are legit fantastic.
Ooh.
Salem's Lot is stellar.
It is.
Dark Knight of the Scarecrow, stellar. Trilogy of Terror, most people just remember the one part of the trilogy, but the whole thing's good. And I also put Gargoyles in that same category.
Okay. What else? Let us. Oh wait, no. Next one, Dead. This is on Peacock. I've only recently heard about this, but I hear it is kind of one of those like underseen gems that are now kind of being rediscovered. It's called Dead Dudes in the House, and it's supposed to be a really, really fun horror comedy.
Watch the TV upstairs.
Yeah, ask Killian to help you turn on.
I don't have to.
Okay, you know how. But yeah, I don't know too much about it, but it looks like just like this, either a very late 80s, early 90s, kind of like a bunch of goofy slackery types go in this house, and I think like an old woman starts killing them off one by one because like they don't realize.
Oh, you know what? Someone just talked about this.
Oh, really? Okay.
Oh God, I can't remember who it was. It was some YouTuber that I watched.
That's how I found out. It was Allison Pregler.
Yes.
Yeah, who does movie nights? Yes.
Yeah. That's where I saw it. Yeah,
she was glowing about it, so I was just like, "Well, I want to see this because I love her taste in movies."
There's like a community of people on YouTube that I'm like, if they recommend something or they watch something and they're like, "This is crazy, you need to watch it," I'll be like, "Okay, I got to check it out."
Yeah, I like she got me back into watching Baywatch, and I now kind of love Baywatch.
I think sometimes that's all it takes is to have somebody who's passionate about it and kind of remind you of like, oh, this is supposed to be dumb.
Yeah,
So, okay, yeah, I do like dumb stuff.
yeah. Like I would have, without seeing how the lens she views it through, I would have been like, oh, this is just so irredeemable trash. But there's so much pulpy, like so bad it's good
Yeah.
juiciness with Baywatch, and Baywatch Nights,
Baywatch Nights is insane.
which I actually did love as a child. I was like,
There was a soap opera around that same time that was also like all supernatural stuff, but it wasn't Dark Shadows. It was during that time period of like Baywatch. It was like a daytime soap. They had like
Passions.
maybe Passions Cove, some shit like that.
I remember
because one of the guys who worked for me, who I was friends with, he was in college at that point and he was obsessed with that shit.
Because there was this one. My sister and I kind of
It
got
might
into
have
it
been
too.
Passions.
It's like the main character's a witch, and she has like this little. It's played by a child, but this little like living doll who's like her sidekick. It's so wild.
That show apparently is insane.
It is. It's crazy, and it was just like, how is this like airing next to General Hospital? What the fuck?
It was Passions. I've often thought about. I wonder if
I think it's Australian. It's so wild.
I was like, I wonder if we should go back and just like watch that.
I'd watch Passions. I would definitely watch.
I might be down to do a Passions watch.
A passion project.
I think Passions Cove might be the Bim Bam thing, where they during the current Taz, where they had to one of the heists they had to do was to steal the Bachelor's heart from this terrible thing they found themselves in, and that's where Slobethany comes from.
What was I watching? I was watching one of their clips today, and it just, oh man, it is
Passions Cove.
Is it? Yeah.
From Steeplechase, it's Slobethany, baby.
Okay. One more movie, another one. On Peacock. I've seen a little bit about it. It looks kind of fun. It stars the guy from Game of Thrones who was the Onion Knight, the dude who had his fingers cut off. I can't remember what his name is. It's totally escaping me. Wonderful actor though. Was also the villain in Dog Soldiers. And it's called Let Us Pray. This movie.
Let Us Pray.
Where he's like this super evil like bad guy who gets like arrested one night and is like, let me out kind of a deal, and everyone's like, okay, yeah, whatever. And then like wrath is visited upon this like police station, and it's like supernatural style, and it's all from this guy as the source. Looked fun. And then another one that I had before we got to Gerald's Game was, and this is on Peacock.
What was Let Us Pray on?
Peacock as well. And this is called My Heart Can't Beat Unless You Tell It To. It looks like an indie movie. It stars the kid from Almost Famous. I think his name's Patrick Fugit. And it's like
title's great.
Great title. It's a brother and sister who have to take care of their younger brother who has a condition where he needs fresh blood to survive. And they have to provide it for him in escalating ways. It looked really, really, really solid. Like for a very good out of the studio system indie offering. I was very excited about it. Another one I wrote down, and I'm not too crazy pumped about it, but I haven't seen it. And some YouTubers who I do appreciate the opinion of have talked highly of it. It's Lights Out, and that's on Netflix. Kind of a newer one.
I don't think I've seen Lights Out.
Yeah, it's
what's it on?
Netflix.
Is that the one where the guy's blind?
No, I think it almost reminded me. like the big thing I remember from the trailer is this woman like flicking the lights on. Hold on 1 second. They keep eating each other up, my kids. They're amazing. But yeah, like the thing that I remember is like it's this woman hallway. When she has the lights off, you can see this kind of weird shadow of a woman. When she flicks it on, nothing in the hallway. Turns the lights off, the thing's closer. So it looked very run of the mill, jump scary, whatever. But I hear it's a little bit better than that. So why not? I feel like.
Yeah, I mean, heck yeah. It's all about them hidden gems.
Heck yeah, dude. Looking through more Netflix to see what else is popping out to me. Oh, actually, one I will put down, and I'm very excited to get through. This will probably be, I don't know how many episodes are in it, but Mike Flanagan's Fall of the House of Usher.
Yeah, that's I try to stay away from series and stuff, but
Okay.
I'm definitely gonna watch that. I still need to
Yeah.
watch Bleak Manor.
Yeah.
We just haven't got around to it.
So I don't know. Yeah, I'll just put it in my list, but it'll be one, and I'll just maybe try to hammer that out like a weekend, like a Saturday. Just make it an all-day thing. Let's see what else we got. I've seen that. That wasn't the greatest. Come on, something new. How about something I got on DVD that I haven't seen. So maybe that's a little cheated. I don't know if we can find this on streaming. I'll look and see if it is on streaming anywhere. But something that's new that I haven't watched but is a classic is The Seventh Sign or Seventh Seal with Demi Moore.
I've seen that. Yeah.
Seventh. Oh, thank you for listening to me. Phone. I love it. Seventh Sign, and that
The
is
seventh actually see that. That might be an Ingrid Bergman movie.
yeah. So yeah, Seventh Sign with Demi Moore. And that looks like it's something you're gonna have to like pay to like rent. Okay.
I've seen it, so
Okay. Well, for anyone out there, Super Spike.
I think I'm in the same boat. Like things like My Little Eye. I don't know if that's streaming anywhere.
Okay.
So Ryan Hollinger said that the only reason he had it in the UK was because he had the DVD.
Oh, okay. Alrighty. God, Netflix does not have much in the way of horror movies. That's really depressing.
I think for horror, you really Shudder or you have to hit up Tubi. Tubi, you got to dig.
Just hit Tubi. Let's see what we got for Tubi. What do you mean? You have to.
Well, one thing that I was gonna no for me, dog. I'm out. Is kind of really quick elevator pitches for these suggestions for people who don't like horror.
Oh yeah, go for it.
You tell me what you've seen, and then what you
Final,
have, and I'll do.
Own it.
Final Girls. People get stuck in an 80s slasher movie where they know the ending of the movie.
Yeah, it's
very funny. It's a very funny movie.
It's like Last Action Hero meets like any camp slasher, but it's smarter than that.
Yeah, it's very smart, and it's actually got a pretty strong emotional core to it.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
Housebound.
I don't know if I've seen that.
If you haven't seen Housebound, you need to put it on your list immediately.
Okay.
I believe it's either New Zealand or Australian movie. A woman gets arrested like a bunch of times, and the last time they put her on house arrest, her parent lives in this creepy old house and weird shit starts to happen and you're left going, okay, is this supernatural? Because this woman's like, I don't believe in fucking ghosts and shit. Because she's kind of like a hardened criminal. She's like, I'll play this shit. So she thinks it's the next door neighbor who's messing with her, and things go off the fucking rails.
Ooh.
Very funny. Again, it's one of those movies where you say, where you're like, I wish the protagonist was smart. This lady's smart, and she's like not having it. So it makes it a real fun ride because she's also at the same time, but we're trying to put stuff on our list, Super Spike, that we haven't seen. And we've both seen Jason X numerous times. I usually watch Jason X at least
numerous
once
copies of Jason X.
Housebound,
I'm not a fan.
Housebound is highly recommended. It's great. It's very fun.
Okay.
Detention.
I don't know if I know that one.
2011. Yeah, it's kind of a Breakfast Club-esque slasher in a high school.
Okay.
Josh Hutcherson's in it. It's a very fun movie. I tried to pick, for people who don't like horror, I try to pick movies that are fun.
Yeah.
And Detention's really fun. Anna vs. the Apocalypse. It's a zombie musical. What more do I need to say? Idle Hands.
Yeah, classic.
Yeah, it's a classic weirdo kind of slacker horror. I mean, for God's sakes, he murders the lead singer of The Offspring in it. Pontypool.
Wonderful.
Pontypool is perfect. Housebound is awesome. Housebound is like, go watch it right now. Actually, most of these movies I feel that way about.
Pontypool is for sure for me.
Pontypool is a perfect zombie movie for people who can't take the gore of zombies. Because it's literally, I think we might have.
Or if you think like you've seen everything, like it's such a tired genre. I've seen everything they can do. You haven't.
No. Yeah, Pontypool it's basically like a stage play because it's a one-site movie with like 6 actors.
Mm-hmm.
I can never think of the guy's name who is the star of it.
Stephen McHattie.
Yeah, I would watch Stephen McHattie eat soup.
Wonderful,
He's
wonderful actor.
So good in this movie. Basically, they're in like a remote town, and an apocalypse starts to hit, and he's the radio disc jockey, and it all takes place inside the radio station.
It's good,
and it's not at all. The outbreak is not at all what it appears to be. It's got like a very, very interesting like sci-fi bend to it, and it's great. And McHattie is amazing.
He's that last kind of like his big
the whole movie's a lot of him monologuing,
but like the big, like when they figure out what
yeah
and I don't want to spoil it. If I say anything,
it's a must watch.
It's such a it's a beautiful movie. It really, like, just the performances. These are it taps into that beautiful, like, wonderfulness that that stage plays have. It, like, you just get so caught up into it. It's very intimate.
Yeah,
and it's wonderful, man. Dead Don't Die. Yeah.
I haven't seen it. Every time I wanted to go see it or wanted to see it, it was like Amazon was charging, and I was like, I don't want to give you money. You Might Be the Killer.
No, I haven't.
Camp counselors. There is like some strife in the midst of them. The main character thinks he might be unconsciously murdering all the other counselors.
Oh.
And he's constantly calling his friend who runs a comic shop and may have also had some adventures at band camp and other movies, who explains to him, I think you might be the killer. It's really fun.
Okay.
Only Lovers Left Alive.
Great. Love it.
A very languid character study about vampires with Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton.
Yeah.
It's great.
Yeah.
The One I Love.
Oh, with Duplass.
Yes.
Yes.
The one I love is another one where like we watched it and we're like, my wife and I were blown away. It's super smart. It's very funny. It's Mark Duplass, so you know the humor's exactly where you expect it to be. But the twist is wild.
Yeah,
And then the twist at the end is even wilder. It's really good. It's very, very good.
Yeah.
I can't think of the woman who's in it, the actress, but she was also in The Invisible Man.
Yes, she was Elizabeth Moss, lead of The
she's
Invisible Man.
great.
She's Mad Men.
Yes.
She's fantastic. Yeah.
Resolution and The Endless. You need to watch them together because the Resolution is The Endless is sort of a sequel to Resolution, and it's done by the same two guys. They wrote and directed, and they starred in these two movies, and they're great. Resolution has to do with
the cult. Yeah.
No, Resolution is the guy who goes to locks his buddy up in the wilderness to help him kick his drug habit, and things go real wonky. The Endless, not a direct sequel, but if you've seen Resolution, there's stuff in Resolution that actually scenes that pop up in The Endless. The Endless is about two guys who leave a cult. And their life outside the cult kind of sucks.
Yeah.
And they go back to visit, and you find out that maybe the cult was onto something. It's very, very Lovecraftian horror, but also kind of fun, and there's a lot of timey-wimey stuff going on that's both interesting and when you think about it, it's fucking terrifying. Like the guy trapped in the tent.
Yes.
Like that is a fate worse than death. Glorious.
Oh yeah, dude. You're the one who tipped me out of this one.
Glorious is great. All you need
fun.
to know is it all takes place in a road stop bathroom. And J.K. Simmons is an elder god in a stall. Enjoy. The Burrowers.
Oh, that's great.
Clancy Brown, you mentioned him earlier.
Yeah.
It's a Western. They're significant. Like, it's what Bone Tomahawk is to like cannibalism movies. Burrowers is to Lovecraftian horror.
Yeah.
It's excellent. If you like Westerns and want horror in your Westerns, you aren't going to get much better than the Burrowers.
It doesn't, I'd say, like Bone Tomahawk, it pulls no punches, not in terms necessarily of gore, but of what drama stakes there are and what happens to these characters. It's brutal.
Ravenous.
Yeah,
you and I both love Ravenous. It's absolutely superb movie.
Ooh, hey, your next movie.
It's scene chewing cannibalism movie.
Oh, it's Robert Carlyle just having a blast.
It's Guy Pearce. That movie's chock full of really good actors having an absolute blast.
Yeah.
Again, it's one I legitimately love every movie on this list. Ravenous is a great flick.
I have the soundtrack to Ravenous. There's so much about that movie that is sublime. It's a shame it's not like lauded as this like worldwide classic. It should be.
Creep.
I love Creep.
Creep is another one. It's definitely a mumblecore movie. It's found footage kind of. And it's just two guys. It's Mark Duplass being absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
The Editor. This is absolutely.
This is the newer one, right?
Yeah, this is like, if you don't know if you dig Giallo, this is a love letter to Giallo, and there's a lot of it with its tongue firmly planted in its cheek, and it's really good.
Now, I haven't seen it, but there's a movie. I'll put it on my list then.
You haven't seen The Editor?
Movie. I haven't, but there's a movie that reminded me quite a bit of. Have you ever heard of it? Evil Ed?
No, I don't think I have.
That came out mid late 90s. I can't remember if it was full moon or not. But it's this guy, mild-mannered dude who is editing all these horror movies, and it starts to have an effect on his psyche. And it seemed very kind of the actress in the editor though is an Irish actress who I absolutely love. So I'll definitely check it out, especially if you're recommending it.
The editor's great.
Okay.
And it's definitely like a love letter, but it's also like doesn't shy away from like kind of poking fun. Teeth
is wonderful. Ooh.
Hausu. We
Yeah.
talk about this movie all the time on here. Do you want to have a drug trip without taking drugs? Do you want to walk through the nightmares of a 10-year-old?
It's a different together.
V.
Oh, this popped up a lot when I was doing research for our folk horror.
Have you watched it? Watch it. It's a
Well,
Russian folk tale movie. It's older. It's 1967. And it's about a debaucherous priest who is forced to sit with a dead body for 3 days, which is a practice in some religions.
Yeah.
And she may or may not be a witch that he killed. And she's basically, it's like these 3 nights of him being haunted. And he's kind of a shitty guy, and it's kind of fun. And you can kind of see some like very, very, very proto Evil Dead 2 in it, with like there's some over the top stuff that's really fun. It's a really good movie. Salem's Lot, Toby Hooper.
Yeah.
This might be my favorite vampire movie of all time.
It's dang good.
It's real good. Werewolves Within, I debated. Also, Wolves of Snow Hollow. Werewolves Within is more fun.
Yeah.
By far. Wolf of Snow Hollow is fun, but in a different way. Werewolves Within is, if you've ever played the party game Werewolves, Werewolf, this is it in a movie. Ready or Not, we talked about before, and we'll probably talk about over and over again. It's just awesome. It's very fun. Satanic Panic.
Yes. Yeah.
Satanic Panic's
good.
Super
Jerry
fun.
O'Connell.
Yeah, and she produced this movie.
It's good. It's like
an 80s send up, of like rich people being Satanists, and they need a virgin, and the pizza driver shows up and shit pops off. It's real fun.
It's very fun. Yeah.
Behind the Mask, The Rise of Leslie Vernon. I mean, come on. I think
I just watched that last week. Still holds up.
It's one of the best like unsung horror movies ever made.
Yeah.
Mockumentary about a guy who's going to become a supernatural killer. And then the last like fourth of the movie is a horror movie, because he does exactly what he said he was going to do the whole fucking movie.
Yeah. It's
stay throughout the credits, because that post-credit scene is.
And that actor is so dang charming. You forget that you're watching. This is a horror movie.
You forget until those last like 20 minutes, and then you're like, oh shit. It's kind of got the same vibe that Shaun of the Dead does when things get real inside the Winchester when mom gets bit.
Yeah, yes.
And it turns into a real like Romero zombie movie for a little bit, and you're like, oh God, the stakes are really high, and you feel kind of upset about it.
Mm-hmm.
That Leslie Vernon is like that, except for more towards the slasher genre. When that turn happens, and it goes from being like a footage documentary to an actual like third person horror movie. Nina Forever. Nina Forever
I'm gonna put this down. I haven't
sort of hit me like the Babadook did, because it's a horror movie about grief. Guy loses his girlfriend in a horrible accident, and time goes by and he can't shake out of his funk, and then he meets a girl who basically is not going to take no for an answer. They start dating. and the ghost of his ex is in the mattress, and especially starts to appear to both of them whenever they have sex. And it's basically she is the way that guilt destroys relationships. It's very, 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 very good. And it goes in places I don't think you're prepared for. It's not violent. There's blood in it. I mean, because, she comes back a lot of times like the guy in American Wolf in London does, all fucked up. And then last but not least, the H.P. Lovecraft Film Society's version of The Whisper in Darkness. They've done 2 movies, The Call of Cthulhu and The Whisper in Darkness. They both did them in the style and format of that they would have been made if the movies were made when the stories were written.
A lot of love and care.
Yes.
Really,
The Whisper in Darkness, they changed they add like a last act to it because the story really doesn't have one. Black and white, super fun, in kind of intense. Actors you've never heard of doing a very good job with one of my favorite Lovecraft stories.
Mm-hmm.
So, have you seen it, Colin?
Whisper in the Darkness, I actually have, yes.
No. I own both their movies, and they're highly recommended. So, those are our recommendations for people who may not be into horror, but these would be all be flicks that are pretty accessible and enjoyable, and aren't going to be like super intense. So most of them are pretty fun.
Yeah. And I'm just finishing out a few more bits on my list. I added 2 personal favorites of mine that I will put on my list, but also could fit into that. If you're not into horror, check these out. One is called Lady in White. It is one of the most absolutely beautiful, heartbreaking, sad, but also joyous ghost stories I've ever watched, seen, heard, consumed in any sort of way. You can find that streaming on Pluto TV for free. It's got a young, I think it's Nicholas Haas, the kid from Witness. It's great. It's great. Every time I watch it, I choke up and just cry like a baby.
I would add Something Wicked This Way comes to that list as well.
That was next.
Those 2 movies have similar vibes.
Yes. They're very cozy movies. So even though there's
they're
some
like
trash,
they're like Stephen King for people who don't like Stephen King.
Perfect. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
And Something Wicked This Way it was written by Ray Bradbury, so you're getting good stuff.
It's I adore that movie so much. Another I'm throwing on is I saw this is on Amazon. Bones and All. It's a recent cannibal movie with little Timothée Chalamet.
I have not seen that. I might add that.
I've heard good stuff, and it's on Amazon. Another one on Tubi. I kind of dismissed this when it first came out, but I've heard a lot of good stuff about it. Is Hellfest, where it's like kind of a group of teens or young 20-somethings go to like this big Halloween carnival and find out that one of the guys who's kind of masquerading as like one of the attractions is actually offing people, and it looked really good. So there's that.
You know where it's streaming?
Yeah, that is on Tubi.
Okay, I will put that down.
And then a newer thing to Hulu is called No One Will Save You, and it looks like a UFO movie, and I've heard a lot of good buzz around
that. I've seen the trailer for that.
Okay.
I do want to find a couple more Giallo to fit in if I can this year, but we'll see if that even happens.
And what else we got here? Just quickly looking through. Hulu. Let's see what we got. It's insane how much of this I've seen.
Yeah, that's why I was like, I think having our conversation tonight was so fun because we've seen a lot of things that the other hasn't.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we were both like, you named some stuff that I never would have thought about watching or had forgotten that I, was like, oh, like Eyes Without a Face is a perfect example.
Yes. Yeah. And that, again, that's one of those movies that like has always been like in the back of my mind is, oh, that's a classic I need to see.
Mm-hmm.
And it just popped up on Max. And I was like, hell yeah, this is the perfect time. Babadook. Maybe I don't know. Ooh, I have seen this, but it's been a long time since I've seen it. So, I don't know though. I'm looking at The Boston Strangler with Oliver Reed. Ooh, one I have not seen on Hulu, but I have heard ton about. Clove Hitch Killer.
Okay.
That is starring good old
That's on
Dylan
Hulu.
McDermott, and it's about this a picture perfect family is shattered when the work of a serial killer hits too close to home.
Huh.
And I've heard a lot of good stuff. And that's on
Tubi.
Hulu.
Also on Tubi.
Is it on? Okay, it's okay. Yeah, it might be a lot of places. Clove Hitch Killer, and I've just got to get one more, and this list be done. Let's look. Ooh, I have not seen this, but I want to. We're gonna go with Cronenberg's Crimes of the Future.
I mean, it's good.
Oh, really?
It's
Never mind.
Yeah. No, I don't think it's bad. It's just like sometimes, like,
is it really derivative of kind of the stuff you've seen before?
it feels like an extension of it.
Okay.
Just sometimes when he goes back to that, because he's become such a polished filmmaker, and he's done so much other stuff.
Yeah.
It feels too polished. Like It doesn't quite have the same edge that his early stuff when he was just like, I'm doing horror.
Yeah.
Does. I don't know. It's not bad.
Well,
I mean, I would say definitely watch it. It's I mean, it's a David Cronenberg movie. It's good.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah, let's keep it then. Yeah, we're doing Crimes of the Future. It's also got that good old Viggo Mortensen in it.
Yes. Who I don't think Cronenberg can get a bad performance out of Viggo. They have such a good relationship with one another.
They might be
filmmaking.
Outside of maybe like De Niro and Scorsese. I think they are one of the like the way they gel together is in the way, not just how they gel, but the variation in performances.
Yeah,
as well. Because like I know a lot of people would be like, well, Johnny Depp and Tim Burton, but it's like you're just getting Johnny Depp. Unless it's Ed Wood.
Ed Wood's so good.
I love Ed Wood so much.
I do too. There you have it.
I guess that's our list. Yeah.
I will probably throw this up on Facebook.
Yeah. Facebook. I'll throw this up in our Spoopy Boys chat. I'll throw this up on the Discord as well.
And I'll send you the document I have here. I'll pull in, and that way you can do with it what you will.
Okay.
Colin, where can people find you?
People can find me hanging around here. Tuesdays we be doing Tiny Meng stuff. Mangin' on Mangin'.
Mang on Mang.
Then weeks opposite of Meng on Meng weeks, we are doing this, Spoopy Boys. And every so often you can find me showing up on Sundays to, talk a little bit about whatnots and doing prep school. Hopefully, yeah, I'm going to try to get my presence on our known world stuff going a little more. But in the meantime, yeah, those are your 3 best shots to find me. If you've got an Xbox or got some Game Pass games with cross compatibility, find me on there. Creepin' Colin, like you see on my little thing right there, my little name. And yeah, that's where you can find me for the most part. Ben, how about you?
Man, I'm on here all the goddamn time. So much that we did Mang on Mang this week, and we weren't even scheduled to do it. I've got Bad Games tomorrow night. We're doing Pathfinder Kingmaker.
Ooh,
so we're gonna
nice.
start up our disaster group, and then we're gonna start Disaster Kingdom. So if you want to be a part of like helping me choose who to invite to our adventuring party, and then helping me make bad decisions, and then setting up a terrible kingdom, come on down. Prep school on Sunday, October 1st already.
Oh gosh, yeah.
I'm not sure what we're prepping for. Maybe we'll do some...
I will not be there because I'm going to be at Brickfest. But if you guys want me to do some live coverage from Brickfest,
I wouldn't mind, jumping in for a little bit.
Yeah, I'll be there, and I'll bring the headphones.
Dude,
so I can.
Spike, I don't know about that. Then Tuesday, Mang on Mang. And then I don't have anything the rest of that week until prep school again on the 8th. And then the 9th, first episode, Star Wars Scum and Villainy.
Oh, exciting.
And then 16th, Chaos Scar. And then the 23rd, Take Me on Multi Roads. And that'll be like a anyone's invited, like kind of helping to flesh out the area a little bit. But yeah, Scum and Villainy, I've already got 5 players. I said I'd take 6. Tops.
Ooh, can I?
You got to go on there and put your name down.
Where?
It's in our Scum and Villainy Facebook.
Oh gosh, okay, group. I'm doing it right now.
Because I got 1 spot left, baby. So yeah, that's it. I mean, I can share the calendar real quick too, I guess. That way maybe people will remember even more than I do, because I do not remember things because I've got head injuries. Oh, that's too big. That's still okay. Okay. So into September, you can see where we're at. And then you can see what's coming down the pike. And hopefully, I mean, I was told I have permissions on Discord now. I have not attempted to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And plus, I would need... Oh, I can. Okay. All right. I'm going to create some channels then. Yeah. We'll in a Spoopy Boys channel.
Yeah.
There, created. Boom. Gotta love it. And then no, wrong channel. I was in the wrong place. Can I? Yep, I can. Okay, I'll create a Spoopy Boys channel. Apparently, I had admin power in the heel turn one. Oh man, I will create a. Anyway, you guys don't need to listen to me do this. Thanks for hanging out. We appreciate you. We appreciate this. Super Spike, as always.
Yeah, dude. Thanks for joining us, bud.
And maybe see you tomorrow night for Kingmaker.
Heck you.
Until then, stay spoopy.
Bye.